So now we move on inshallah to Surah Al-Tariq, Surah after Surah Al-Buruj. And in reality it is an extension to, by its meanings, it is an extension to Surah Al-Buruj. In Surah Al-Buruj we mentioned how the beginning of the surah spoke about the sky and the dominion of the sky, and then how Allah Ta'ala spoke of that power above His creation as a witness, and Allah Ta'ala spoke about His own power, inna batsha rabbika, the direct power of Allah over His creation and over His people, and that it didn't let any of the armies of the Fir'aun or Thamud go. And in this surah it's more individualistic, meaning that although Allah Ta'ala spoke about Fir'aun, Thamud, big nations of the past, in Surah Al-Tariq it's more direct to every individual. So every individual is a leader to some degree. If you lead a household, if you lead a workplace, if you lead any place, if you're even an older sibling, to some degree you have some dominance that you can assert over someone. There's always someone that you are superior to. So that, everyone is in check. Everyone is in check. And this surah will speak about that again. Just like the last surah, Surah Al-Buruj, spoke about it. The surah is very similar to Surah Al-Buruj, however it is smaller, and the ayat almost are twofold. So we can divide the surah into two parts, and the ayat are almost paired. So every two ayahs come with two ayahs, and they're paired like that. And that seems to be the special form of how this surah is. So Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ. Allah Ta'ala takes an oath by the sky. And Surah Al-Buruj also started in the same manner. وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ. Allah Ta'ala took an oath by the sky. Over here Allah Ta'ala saying, وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ, by the sky and the night comer. Al-Tariq is, as translated here, a night comer. However, in the Arabic dictionaries it comes from the word turuq. And this was when in the past, when a guest would be suspected to come at a time, however their time is delayed. So the house that they're supposed to come and stay, and the hospitality takes place, they're taken care of, the household is already asleep. So what would the people do? Right? Taraq al-bab, we still use the word knock the door, but a tent doesn't have a door, right? Tent is cloth, so how are you going to knock a tent? So the Arabs at the time, what they would do is they would take two rocks together and they would bang them together, or they would take the rock and they would hit the watid, and they would by this make noise, and the household would know that the guest has arrived. But over here Allah Ta'ala is using this word to speak about something else. Now the Mufassirun have differed, however we'll mention that after. Allah Ta'ala says, وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ, and the night comer. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الطَّارِقِ, and what will make you realize what is the night comer? النَّجْمُ الثَّاقِبِ, it is the pulsating star of piercing brightness. Now the Arabs were very well, up till now even, when it comes to the constellations and certain names of stars and all this stuff, you'll find that many of those names are in Arabic. And this was because of the knowledge that they had. But even the Bedouins of Arabia at the time, they not only loved looking at the night sky was very clear for them. They're in the desert, it's not a polluted land, the night sky is everything. Every night you look in the sky and you can see Allah Ta'ala's beautiful creation. It's not like now that, oh look, we can see one star, two stars, three stars. Rather the stars were so clear that they used to have names for them. And they had names for each star, right? For example, Zuhal was a name, and they have other names of other stars. However, An-Najmu Thaqib was not a name in their dictionary. And exactly what star is this, exactly how it is, right? Sometimes Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He talks to us, and we sometimes pay attention to the things that He doesn't want us to be known, He doesn't want us to know, rather than paying attention to actually what He wants us to know. For example, how many times when you talk about the story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, everyone wants to know who's Imra'atul Aziz, what is her name, what is the woman of the Aziz, the woman of the leader. what's her name, or certain other details in the Qur'an which Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala kept them hidden for a reason. So, there's no need to dive so deep into it. An-Najm al-Thaqib, exactly what type of star this is. What we can gain from the meaning linguistically is that Thaqib is that type of star which, as he translated over here very well, that it's piercing. Its brightness is very strong, and it has a piercing look. But why is Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala speaking of this? If we tie it back to what Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said in Surah Al-Buruj, that Allah Ta'ala spoke about the sky and the stages of the sky and how it's all under Allah's watch, and that this sky itself is a witness of all of the creation beneath it. The same are these stars. That these stars are these stars that are visiting you, that you're seeing on a nightly basis. They are a witness to what? In kullu nafsin lamma alayha hafidh. That they are a witness to you. And indeed, even in the next ayah, Allah Ta'ala says, and indeed, even thus, there is not a single soul, but that over it there is a guardian angel recording everything. The translator here himself has taken out to say the angel, and it, according to some Mufassirun, it is referring to the angels who are protecting every human being. But it's Allah Ta'ala saying that you don't even need in the past surah, Allah Ta'ala said regarding the skies witnessing Ibn Adam, Allah Ta'ala witnessing Ibn Adam. And if you come even closer now, you don't even need the skies, right? You don't even need anything else. Allah Ta'ala placed with every human being an angel, and that those angels are with the human being all the time. They are protecting the human being, they are watching the human being, they are recording everything that the human being does and says. One of the Mufassirun, he says that this ayah alone, if one ponders it enough, right, it doesn't speak of the hereafter. It doesn't mention akhirah over here. Allah Ta'ala is only mentioning that every soul, upon it there is a guardian. But that alone should tell us what? If you ponder enough, that if there's something being guarded, if there's something being recorded, then there's something which has value, which will be taken into consideration, which will have consequences, right? If what you're doing and you're saying is recorded, that means what you're doing and you're saying has value. Now, when it has value, is it going to be of a good value or a bad value? Right? Are the consequences of it going to be good or not? That will lead you to the hereafter. So just recognizing that there is accountability. There is accountability. This is the reality of the hereafter. And that's what the hereafter is there for. That for us to recognize accountability. And the next ayah, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقَ. Now, this whole system, Allah Ta'ala speaking of the amazing sky and the stars and these very powerful beings that Allah has created. Allah's speaking about the system of accountability which Allah has put forth for the human being and his or her actions. But if you look at the human being, right, what is the human being? فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقَ. The human being, then let man consider the substance from which he is created. If man goes back and ponders upon how man came into the world, right, it's not a very pleasant scene. خُلِقَ مِن مَّاءٍ دَافِقٍ. And Allah Ta'ala speaks about that over here. That is something for us to ponder upon. That He is created from a spurting fluid. Dafaqa is for any fluid when it bursts out, and this is referring to the sperm, that the human being was created from this fluid. يَخْرُجُ مِن بَيْنِ الصُّلْبِ وَالتَّرَائِبِ. Issuing from between the backbone and the chest. The Mufassirun differed over what exactly is this. Is this the backbone of a man? Is this the chest of a woman? One of the Mufassirun, he mentions that this is referring to the birth of the human being. That this human being comes into the world putting weight on the backbone of the mother and pressure on the chest and coming into this world. And one of the Mufassirun, he details and he mentions the beauty of how this all should remind us of the hereafter. And this is what the next ayah says, إِنَّهُ عَلَى رَجْعِهِ لَقَادِرٌ, that Allah Ta'ala is, upon returning this human being, to those similar stages that we went to in the before, we've already went through. Allah Ta'ala is capable of returning us to those stages. The word sulb is also the same word used for salabatul ard or salabatul hajar, for the most, rough or tough, rocks, hard rocks. Tara'ib, what's a word that we can take that comes from the same three letters? Turab, dirt, right? Allah Ta'ala speaks in other several ayat as well, of the life of the earth, how it's what you have, you have a ground, you have a solid earth, and then you have a softer portion, and then you have the water that comes that fertilizes that earth, and that is how Allah Ta'ala resurrects the ground and the land. And through a similar process, the human being comes into existence. So these similarities of how life comes into the world is to remind us of how Allah Ta'ala will return life to us after we die. Right? When the land dies, when the grass dies, Allah Ta'ala returns it back into life in front of us. إِنَّهُ عَلَى رَجْعِهِ لَقَادِرٌ. Indeed, He who has created him is most surely and well able to return him to life anew. Allah Ta'ala is most able to return us to this life after we exit the dunya, after we die. يَوْمَ تُبْلَى السَّرَائِرُ, for what? For a day, on a day hereafter when all man's inner secrets shall be examined. This is a very beautiful word. يَوْمَ تُبْلَى السَّرَائِرُ. That, bala, from the word bala, which means to test something, right? But it means to push something to its limit and to test it. So when the inner secrets will be examined in depth, and there won't be any limit left of, meaning anything hidden, it will be taken out of the human being, and it will be examined, it will be tested. No matter how deep it is, it will become like the daylight in the hereafter. فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ وَلَا نَاصِرٍ. Thus for him there shall be neither power nor helper. There shall be no power nor any helper. And this is, when you look at the other ayat, right, that may make tafseer of this ayah, that what is the state of all of mankind on the day of resurrection? No one can move a limb, no one can say a word of speech without the permission of Allah Ta'ala. No one has any power, right? So no one has any power from their self, nor a nasir, nor any other agent that will come to help them and give them power. Now we move on to the second portion of the surah. So this was the first portion, which spoke about accountability, and it spoke about the human being's affair in what is to come. Similar was the framework of Surah Al-Buruj, that in the beginning Allah Ta'ala spoke about the human being, the witness of creation to the actions of the human being, and the hereafter. And then Allah Ta'ala in the second portion of Surah Al-Buruj spoke about what? The Qur'an. Allah Ta'ala spoke about the Qur'an towards the end portion of Surah Al-Buruj. Over here the dialogue also transitions towards that direction. وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الرَّجْعِ. And by the sky, ever returning water to the earth in rain. So one of the names of water and rainwater in specific in Arabic and by the Arabs of the time was raja', that it's something that comes and it goes, it returns. And not only does it return, but it brings life. It brings life with it. The rainwater brings life to the earth. And this is the example that we want to understand of the Qur'an, that it is ma, but it is a ma and a water for our spirit. It is a water for our spirit. وَالْأَرْضِ ذَاتَ الصَّدْعِ. And by the earth sprouting with vegetation. So when this earth is fertile and it sada' actually means to break open. So when this earth breaks open to accept the water, then you have what? A flourishing land, a flourishing earth. The same is like the hearts of the believers, right? Upon the hearts the Qur'an descends. If the hearts open up, then the Qur'an will quench the heart. It will quench the thirst of the heart. Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلٌ فَصَلٌ. Indeed, this Qur'an is most surely a distinguishing word from Allah. إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلٌ فَصَلٌ. Fasl is something which separates. So a fasila is a separation, right? And the Arabs would specifically use this in jewelry, for example. When they had jewelry, between the different gems, they would have pieces which separated each gem from each other. So this Qur'an is also like this. It is every letter of it, every word of it is distinguished, and it distinguishes, it separates from the truth, it separates the truth from falsehood. وَمَا هُوَ بِالْهَزْلِ. And fasl is the exact opposite of hazl. Fasl is serious speech. It is speech which is not of no use. It's not irrelevant speech. Whereas hazl is irrelevant speech of no meaning. Indeed, this Qur'an is most surely a distinguishing word from Allah, and it is not conveyed in jest. وَمَا هُوَ بِالْهَزْلِ. It is not conveyed in jest. إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا. Allah Ta'ala speaks about the disbelievers, and this is a consolation to the Prophet ﷺ, that they who disbelieve are devising a plan. They devise a plan. يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا. Yet I devise a plan. فَمَهِّلِ الْكَافِرِينَ أَمْهِلْهُمْ رُوَيْدًا. So bear with the disbelievers, O Prophet. Bear with them just a little. فَمَهِّلِ الْكَافِرِينَ أَمْهِلْهُمْ رُوَيْدًا. Now, mahala, it means, one of the meanings in the Arabic languages is to burn something, but to burn it slowly. To burn something and to burn it slowly. So the disbelievers, they're given their time slowly. Those disbelievers who are torturing the Prophet ﷺ and his people, that they're given their time, and it'll be slow, but it's coming. فَمَهِّلِ الْكَافِرِينَ أَمْهِلْهُمْ رُوَيْدًا. And bear with them just a little. Ruwaida is a word which means very less, very little. So give them just some time, just a short amount of time, and what is coming ahead will come. What is coming ahead will come to them. So just summary again of the surah. The beginning speaks about the creation of Allah Ta'ala, witnessing mankind, and the witness tied with every human being, and that the human being, although this human being, if you go back to how it was created, it seems like why should there be an angel tied with every human being? Why should there be an angel tied with every human being? And this is also something important when we think about this, that our physical body, it's not what brings us value. Our physical body, the state comes into this world in a very strange state. Allah Ta'ala says, ثُمَّ السَّبِيلِ يَسَّرَ. That if you look at the state of how this child comes into this world, it's a very strange state. But what makes the human being valuable? It's the ruh, that's the soul that's placed into this body. The soul that placed into this body, it doesn't come from this body. It doesn't come from the mother or the father. It comes all the way from above the skies. And it is placed inside of the human being. And of the hereafter, and how even the innermost secrets of the human being will be tested, and how all of that should remind us to return to the Qur'an, and that the Qur'an is what? Water for the soul, and it gives life to the soul, and that this Qur'an it differentiates between truth and falsehood, and it differentiates between those who plot against Allah and those whom Allah Ta'ala plots against them. And we ask Allah Ta'ala that He give us understanding of the surah, forgive us for any shortcomings in understanding it. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك اللهم ونتوب إليك جزاكم الله خيرا